I've had this analogy that keeps coming back to me. It's this idea that marriage is like Birkenstocks. I said that to a friend. He's like, only lesbians wear them? I'm like, no, that is not it.
I was about to say nuns that no longer get vocations wear them.
By the way, I'm a big Birkenstock fan, but chiropractic...
Not a big Ursuline fan, though.
Yeah. Chiropractors will tell you, like, they're not necessarily good for you. And you're like, why? You're like, well, if you're standing incorrectly, then the Birkenstock will just mold to your disordered way of standing, and it'll just... Right, so I think marriage is kind of like that. When my wife and I got married, there were disorders that each of us brought into the marriage, and marriage, to make it work, it's like you learn to live in a dysfunctional way. I would say that when we got married, I had more of these feminine sins. I had some of them, and she had some kind of masculine sins.
Yeah.
And what I mean is this, like, I grew up, I think there was a lot of kind of passive aggression in my family, and I tended to bring that in, and I would sulk a little, which is very unattractive. It's always unattractive. It's especially unattractive on a man. My wife was raised in a family where when there was chaos, she made everyone okay. So she sought to make things such that people would be okay again. Right. So now we come into this marriage where I've got this kind of traditionally kind of feminine sin, and she's got this kind of masculine sin.
Right.
And we just made it work for so long. So she just kept trying to make me okay.
Sure.
Which in the short term might work, like the Birkenstock,
right.
But eventually, as we started to receive healing in therapy or from our Lord, we realized, okay, this is the reason you're doing this is because I'm doing this, and the reason I'm doing this is because you're doing this. And we had to kind of almost violently change some of the ways that we acted. And I found that the more masculine I acted, the softer she would become.
Right.
So when I would step up and like be attentive to her and fight for her and take care of things for her, she had the freedom to sort of relax into that more feminine posture that I find so attractive. But she was only able to do that when she saw me rise to the occasion.
Well, and that feminine posture that is sort of naturally inculcated in her, right? But has been sort of nurtured out of her, right? Yeah. I'm glad you brought the distinction between masculine and feminine sins.
Yeah.
That's something I talk a lot about.
Do you? I've been thinking about this lately. I don't think we've talked about it.
There is. I think it was my spiritual director? I had this great conversation about it a couple of months ago, and I've just been thinking about it a lot. And I don't remember the exact words he used, but basically he said if it is a man committing feminine sins, it's equally sinful, but it's also disordered, right? It's like doubly disordered.
Yes.
Right. All sin is disordered. It's doubly disordered, right? If it is, and the example that I think the easiest example is the sin of promiscuity, right? It is a immoral, awful thing for a man to go out and sleep with a bunch of girls, right? That's bad for his soul, right? It's going to do terrible things to him, make it harder for him to be a husband and a father one day. But when a woman does it, right? It's doubly disordered because it's a masculine sin. Because women are not innately, like, they don't want to go out and have lots of sex with lots of strange people.
Yes.
It is unfortunately a part of our masculine nature, disordered part, right? But it's there with...
That's right.
Right? Yeah. To go do that thing, right? There's a deep biological impulse that we have to do that they don't. And so when they've given themselves over to it, it's doubly disordered.
And I think what we've done, even in church circles, have tried to say to women, like, we'll say, right, as Catholics, like, somehow we justify it when a man does it, but it's horrible when a woman does it. And that's true, but no, it is actually more shameful for the woman to do it because it's doubly disordered. And the masculine equivalent I use would be this. Like, suppose, and you tell me what you think, suppose you went to work where you work at a high school, and there's a woman there who continually gets overwhelmed in meetings and runs off and kind of cries in the bathroom. Yeah, grow up. Like, learn how to not do that. That's inappropriate. If a man is doing that, that's doubly disgusting. That's what we're talking about.
And that pisses a lot of people off saying that. Like, I was talking to my theology kids, and I was talking about emotional control and how I'm called to a level of emotional control my wife isn't called to. And the example that I gave is also a crying example. If we got a call right now and we found out that my wife's mother died, and my wife breaks down in tears and needs to go be by herself for a while, I would keep the kids away if she said, I just can't right now. I don't want to be. And she was going to spend hours sobbing in the bedroom. Okay, that's okay, sweetie. Like, you can do that. You can take that time, right? And if the same thing were to happen to me, exact same thing. I love my mom. Oh my gosh, I would boohoo. But I would do it privately. And the face I would present to my children would be, this is awful, guys. We can come together. We're going to say some prayers. And I have more of this public facing role, right? As a result of my masculinity. And it would be doubly disordered. It would be more disordered for me to go and hide. Gossip is the one that I talk to boys about a lot. Gossip, I think, is predominantly a feminine sin. And a lot of boys gossip. And it's extra gross, right, when a boy does it.
How do we not fall into the trap, though, of let's say your mother dies? How do you not fall into the trap of basically teaching your children by being in control that it's never okay to cry and never okay to be upset if someone close to you dies? Because that's not what you're saying. You're not saying, it's inappropriate. Men don't cry.
I would cry. I would absolutely cry.
And you should. But
and I would do that by myself, not in front of my children later. Because I'm called to a higher level of emotional control by virtue of my masculinity and my role as a husband and father.
I think I'm thinking of my own family. Like I was blessed to have beautiful parents, their own sins like all of us. Sure. They're not perfect like all of us. But yeah, if my father broke down for a significant period of time, I would feel chaos in a way that I wouldn't feel if my mother did that.
I've seen my mother cry a lot. I've never seen my dad cry. And my dad's not some chest-beating macho. You've met my father, right? He's a good man. He's a solid man, but he's not Gaston from Beauty and the Beast, right? And it would really... right now, as a grown man with children, if my dad were to come to me bawling his eyes out, I would not know what to do. I would start short-circuiting up here.
So I think the point we're making is, as children, we kind of look to our dad to be that steady... stabilizing force within the family, that if he breaks apart, we all feel we all kind of get swept into that chaos.
And I'm trying to think of it on so on the other side too, right? If one of my kids gets in bad trouble while I'm at work, because they only go to school 2 days a week, it's a hybrid kind of deal, right? Then my wife will do the wait till your dad gets home kind of thing. Like, go to your room, stay in a room till your dad gets home. And
imagine
if Angie was out at the store
and
I said, wait till your mom gets home.
Right? What does that doesn't say anything good about you or your wife. Right. You know what I'm saying? Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.